Well, what about the news we heard last week? The United States Bureau of Land Management, this was their headline from their press release, March 30th. BLM finalizes bison grazing proposal and issues proposed grazing decision. I think a lot of us expected this decision out of the Biden administration's Bureau of Land Management. We've seen this in the works now for quite some time, where they are actively trying to push the ranchers off the land, and they're allowing the folks with these special interest environmental groups to have access to the land in ways that you don't have access to the land. What's the reaction to this decision from the Montana Public Lands Council? Vicki Olson, great to have you on the program this morning. Thanks for calling in.
Well, thanks for having me. We're glad you're bringing some light to this decision.
Yeah, well, first off, how would you summarize what the BLM just announced last week?
That the rangeland health is not being preserved, and that's one of our big things is rangeland health, and that everybody's treated equally. And in this proposal, that is not the case. I personally, for our ranch, asked for year-round grazing, and you know what I was told? That I would keep a certain number in each pasture for 12 months of the year, and I could not rotate them or put in a larger number for a shorter amount of time, or I would be in trespass. So when I asked for flexibility, I got none. And these guys got almost everything they asked for in this proposal.
Yeah, but that's what was so shocking about not only this decision, but I think we saw that there was a foregone conclusion what they were going to do here. So the American Prairie Reserve is basically this foreign billionaire-funded outfit that is trying to buy up all this land, turn it into a bison reserve. But I think we all get the end goal here. They want to remove the ranchers from the land, which removes these small communities from the land eventually, so that they can have this kind of playground for the elites. And it's been a goal for the radical left to turn this into an American Serengeti for a number of years now. And this is all part of that process. And so not only are they allowing the APR to do year-round grazing and ignoring the potential environmental impacts there, but are they still allowing them to remove all of the infrastructure that has been built over decades now to, whether it's providing water or fences, you name it?
Yes, on most of the proposal, most of the interior fences will be removed. There is some rotational grazing on part of the 4 of the allotments, and 3 of them will be year-round with no rotation, just 12 months a year. And even on their proposed rotational ones, they're getting to go out a whole month earlier than anybody else on those pastures, which, there again, why should they be a month earlier than anybody else? That just isn't good range management. And, excuse me, especially with the drought. And our numbers showed that they were like at 140% of their AUMs last year, and nothing was done about it. According to this proposal, it says there's no evidence of that, but that's what we went in and figured them, and that's what we came up with. So it's the fact that they are allowing them to do things that nobody else is allowed, and they're not following the statute. They can't even come up with the forms that you're supposed to fill out for a grazing permit. Those forms aren't even available. So, and what are they going to do now with the drought? What do they have to do? Because they're asking us to do special things. So.
Yeah, they're asking you to cut back. Are they going to ask the APR to cut back? The Montana Stock Growers Association released a statement on this proposed decision by the BLM regarding the APR grazing allotments as well. They said this: in recent years, MSGA has raised a variety of issues with the APR's request to BLM to change the class of livestock from cattle to bison, change the authorized seasons of use, and the removal of interior fences. And they have shared their disappointment in the BLM's draft EA and this FONSI, as it's referred to as well. And their big concern is that this could have serious repercussions on BLM grazing throughout the West, not just in Phillips County, not just in Montana, but throughout the West. What do you think can be done at this point to try to challenge this?
Well, there's a 15-day, which we're already a week into that protest period, and then after that, it will go into appeals. And we've got lawyers ready to go into that appeal because there were many things in that was not addressed. One question we ask is there state land in there, and from what I was told, the state has not authorized bison grazing on any land. Well, it's included in the year-round grazing. We don't think they did a good job of doing the economic and social impacts on our areas, and that wasn't, oh no, it's not going to affect anything because of the small numbers. Well, it does impact us.
I do want to go back to Vicki Olson out of Phillips County, and thanks, Vicki, for joining us here, especially kind of last minute. We had a busy show last week, or we would have tried to get you on last week for sure. Yeah, to me, this whole deal, the bigger picture with what the Biden administration is doing with so many of their anti-agriculture, their anti-mining, their anti-American energy policies is everything going on right now, inflation, gas prices, food shortages. Yeah, is the Ukraine war impacting that? Yes, but all of this was getting bad before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But to me, we need more American energy, not less. We need more American mining, not less. And look, if we're talking about food shortages here, we need more agricultural production in America, not less. But what they're doing is deliberately undermining agriculture, in my opinion.
I totally agree with that. I didn't answer that question very good earlier, but that's a very good comment, because what if down there other people, other conservation groups or whatever, do this same thing and just keep taking more and more land out of production, and they know they can take the BLM out of production too. And you talk about food shortages and stuff. It will affect everybody, not just the ag people. It will affect the people of the United States, and that is a big worry, because we think the Taylor Grazing Act said that the BLM was to be for the sustainability of the livestock industry, and that was done to feed America. And I think they're totally going against the intent of the Taylor Grazing Act.
Yeah, and we